Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about the best natural testosterone booster that money can buy. So let's dive right in. Hey guys, welcome to Nutrition Library, where we take an evidence-based approach to supplementation and nutrition. If you haven't already, or you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor, hit the red subscribe button, hit the bell notification, like the video, all that kind of good stuff. You guys know the deal. Thanks so much. Alright guys, so I have actually got a particular interest in compounds that are shown to naturally improve and optimize testosterone production. Back in the good old days when I was in college still, Cannonball! When my priorities were a little bit different, I ran a couple cycles of some performance enhancing drugs and some anabolics.
I look like a guy who's been hitting the gym. It has nothing to do with the gym. You're on drugs.
Which I highly do not recommend because it absolutely destroyed my natural testosterone production. And honestly, I kind of feel like I'm still dealing with the repercussions of that almost 10 years later, which again is another reason why I just completely advocate against the use of anabolics for that particular reason. And so now that I'm in a completely different stage of life, I've got a wife and 2 kids and a house, and life is just completely different for me now. However, I still understand the benefits of having optimal testosterone levels on a daily basis for general well-being, for muscle mass, fat loss, energy levels, you name it. Testosterone is one of the primary driving hormones for the male body, and so anything I can do in order to optimize those levels is of a very high interest to me. Now, in this video, we're actually not going to be reviewing any specific products because, to be honest, I'm just not a fan of pretty much any kind of packaged, pre-packaged, pre-formulated testosterone booster on the market right now. They're either misformulated, have ingredients that are completely useless, or they're completely misdosed. And so what we're going to be talking about in this video in particular are the main compounds that have the most research behind their effectiveness at increasing and improving and optimizing testosterone production. Now, most of the research indicates that the people that are going to benefit from these compounds the most are going to be people who have suboptimal testosterone production already. And so there's very little evidence, with the exclusion of one compound in particular, that any of these will be able to increase testosterone above normal levels, meaning that if you already have optimized testosterone production, you're already sleeping really well, your nutrition is on point, your training is on point, you're already implementing methods to reduce stress, there isn't a lot of research to indicate that these compounds will help. However, for individuals that are not optimizing those things, maybe you're overweight, maybe you're super stressed out at work, these compounds may benefit you in improving and increasing testosterone levels. But at the end of the day, I highly recommend getting those lifestyle factors in check first. And this is actually why it's super important to get your testosterone tested in the first place before you turn to some of these methods, simply because it helps to know whether or not you have low testosterone. And so if you guys are interested in getting tested, there's a link in the description to the company that I personally use. Now, we're going to split this video into 2 main parts. The first part that we're going to briefly cover are the main micronutrients that deficiencies in those micronutrients have been shown to hinder testosterone production. And so we're going to talk about those micronutrients first, and then the second half of this video is going to be covering what I think are the more interesting compounds that have been shown. Some of them have been shown at least to increase testosterone even in trained and healthy individuals. So that's kind of the more exciting portion of the video. So if you want to skip to that, feel free to. However, we are going to cover the micronutrients that are super important, that have to be covered before you can even move on to those herbal options. So let's dive right in. So the first compound that's on our list today as the most important micronutrient when it comes to correcting a deficiency in order to improve testosterone production is zinc. Now, zinc deficiency has been repeatedly shown to decrease testosterone levels, which is why it's so important to correct a deficiency if it exists. And it has also been shown in healthy individuals to actually prevent an exercise-induced decrease in testosterone. And so for athletes in particular that are sweating a lot, zinc is lost highly readily through sweat. And so if you're sweating a lot or someone who's working outside a lot in the summertime, zinc supplementation is going to be super important in order to correct a deficiency if it does exist. However, again, for those of you that are exercising on a regular basis, I do recommend supplementing with zinc in order to prevent any exercise-induced decreases in testosterone. Now, there are also some studies that have been performed in rodents that also show that a deficiency in zinc can actually decrease the number of androgen receptors, which are the receptors within your body that testosterone actually docks to on specific cells in order to carry out its biological function. And so in these rodent trials, it has been shown that a zinc deficiency can actually decrease androgen receptors by 59%. And by correcting that zinc deficiency, there's a reversal in that deficiency in androgen receptors. Now, zinc is also involved in the enzymatic processes of converting the precursors of testosterone into testosterone. And so, again, having a zinc deficiency through several different mechanisms has the potential to decrease testosterone production. Now, the second compound that's on our list today is vitamin D. Now, there have been several associative studies that have kind of just looked at general correlations between vitamin D levels and testosterone levels, and it has been repeatedly shown that individuals that have lower vitamin D levels also tend to have low testosterone levels. And in this study in particular, it was also shown that supplementing with vitamin D over the course of a year has the ability to actually raise testosterone as well. And so not only is there a correlation between vitamin D levels and testosterone, but there's also some evidence to suggest that simply by supplementing with vitamin D over the course of a year has the potential to increase testosterone levels. Now, the mechanism here isn't fully understood at the moment. However, we do know that there are vitamin D receptor sites on the testes, and so there seems to be some interplay and some direct effect of vitamin D docking to the cells in the testes that produce testosterone, and so there might be a direct stimulatory effect there. However, that's kind of just speculation in the literature at this point. Now, the third micronutrient on the list today has a little bit less evidence behind it when compared to vitamin D and zinc. However, because there does seem to be such a strong correlation with the supplementation of this compound and testosterone levels, I did feel it necessary to put it on the list. And that compound is boron. Now, again, this one is slightly debatable right now at this point. However, the evidence that we do have, it does appear there is some type of relationship between boron intake and testosterone production. Again, we really don't know exactly what's going on. However, it does appear to be a semi-essential dietary mineral along things like zinc and magnesium, which are essential dietary minerals. And there does seem, according to some other studies, that there may be some interplay between magnesium and zinc and boron and how they interact in the body. However, suffice it to say that individuals that tend to be deficient in boron also tend to have suboptimal testosterone production. So I do think it would be prudent to add this into a supplementation stack if it isn't already there. Now, if you guys want any further information on zinc or boron, I do have two videos in particular that are full write-ups on those compounds, and so I'll link those at some point in this video. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but be looking out for those. All right, so now we get to the fun stuff. Now, these are the herbal options that we're going to talk about, and so these are all herbal compounds that have been shown in several different studies to improve testicular function and improve testosterone production as well. And the first one that we're going to talk about today is ashwagandha. And now, the interesting thing about ashwagandha is that it's the only compound on the list that has been shown to improve testosterone production in healthy, trained individuals. Now, there is plenty of evidence for ashwagandha as well as the other two compounds that we'll talk about in this video, increasing testosterone in infertile men. However, again, ashwagandha stands head and shoulders above these other two compounds because it's the only one on the list that has the ability to do that in healthy, fertile, trained individuals. Now, there is a fairly interesting study that has shown that 300 milligrams given in the morning and in the evening time to individuals that were beginning a strength training protocol, that it actually had the ability to improve their testosterone production by 16%, as well as increase their bench press above the control group by almost 40 pounds. And so for any of you guys that have been working out for any length of time, know 40 pounds is a big deal.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Even for individuals that are just getting into the gym, because most individuals that just start training, obviously there's a huge kind of development that happens on the front end when they begin to train. However, this study in particular showed that ashwagandha given to these individuals that are beginning a strength training protocol were able to increase their bench press 40 pounds above those that were not receiving that ashwagandha. Now, there are two primary mechanisms by which ashwagandha increases testosterone. The first is that it directly stimulates the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormone. Now, when thyroid hormone is released in the body, it has a direct positive regulatory effect on the HPG axis, which is the hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis. And so when thyroid hormone is released, it stimulates the hypothalamus to release a hormone known as gonadotropic releasing hormone, which then goes to the pituitary to stimulate the pituitary to release luteinizing hormone. Then luteinizing hormone travels through the bloodstream to go down to the testicles to then stimulate the testes to produce testosterone. And so by ashwagandha's ability to directly stimulate the thyroid to produce thyroid hormone, it has a direct ability to stimulate the production of testosterone as well. Now, the second way that ashwagandha increases testosterone is by decreasing levels of cortisol. And now there are a couple of different studies that have shown ashwagandha's ability to decrease cortisol by roughly 30% in stressed individuals. And now cortisol and testosterone share similar building blocks in the body. And so whenever cortisol is high, it kind of steals those building blocks away from your body's ability to produce testosterone, and vice versa. And so when you're able to reduce cortisol, your body has more substrate to work with in order to produce testosterone. And so besides the micronutrients that are on the list, ashwagandha would definitely be my go-to if you're just looking for one singular compound in order to improve and optimize hormone function. Now, the second herbal compound on our list is an herb known as Coleus Forskohlii. Now, Coleus Forskohlii is typically a compound that is taken in order to increase fat burning and is taken as a fat burner most often. However, there is some decent research as well that indicates that it might be able to increase testosterone to a modest degree as well. Now, there's only one study in particular at the moment that has looked at the effects of Coleus Forskohlii in men. However, it does seem to be a fairly promising herb simply because the men that were used in this study weren't shown to have hypogonadism or shown to be infertile, so it doesn't appear as though these men necessarily had reduced testicular function, which means that the results that were seen in that particular study of a 17% increase may carry over into healthy trained individuals as well. However, because it hasn't been directly studied yet, I would take that with a grain of salt at the moment. Now, forskolin does this by increasing a secondary messenger molecule within the body known as cyclic adenosine monophosphate, or more simply known as CAMP. And now CAMP is directly involved with the enzymatic conversion of some of testosterone's precursors into testosterone. And so by increasing the amounts of CAMP within the testicles, which forskolin seems to be fairly reliable at doing so, it seems that it also has a fairly reliable ability to improve testosterone production as well. Now, the third herbal option on our list today is Mucuna Pruriens. Now, there are currently 2 studies in particular that have shown Mucuna Pruriens' ability to increase testosterone in infertile subjects. Now, this hasn't been directly tested in healthy individuals at the moment. However, because of the specific mechanism that's involved with its ability to increase testosterone in infertile subjects, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that it also has the ability to do that in healthy individuals as well. And on top of that, there are a couple of different rat studies at the moment that have tested Mucuna Pruriens' ability to increase testosterone production in healthy rodents, and it has been able to do that there. And so again, there is some promise in Mucuna Pruriens' ability to improve testosterone production in healthy men as well. Now, Mucuna Pruriens is able to do this by directly increasing the amounts of dopamine that are in the body. And now dopamine has a direct suppressatory effect on the hormone prolactin, which is a hormone that has a suppressatory effect on testosterone, which means that by suppressing prolactin, which again has that suppressatory effect on testosterone, if you're able to suppress prolactin, you're technically and theoretically able to increase testosterone as well. Now, I am a huge fan of stacking all of these together because of the fact that they have specific mechanisms that are completely different when it comes to increasing testosterone production. And so combining them, there isn't any direct research on their ability to have synergistic effects within the body, but theoretically they do combine super well. And if I were to add a 4th herbal option on the list today, it would be Tongkat Ali. And the reason I would add that onto the list isn't necessarily because it has a ton of research behind its ability to improve testosterone production. However, it does have some fairly good research in rodents at the moment on its ability to actually block the estrogen receptor, which means it also has the ability to block the effects of estrogen within the body. And so when you combine these 4 herbs together with the 3 previous micronutrients that were mentioned earlier in this video, you have literally an unbeatable stack when it comes to improving hormone function within the body. And so guys, this is my personal stack that I rotate through. I don't take all of these on a daily basis. I've got several different videos that you guys can search through the archives on my channel to find on how to cycle through these, and I'll do some future videos on how to cycle through these best in the future. But I do think it's important to note here that taking these every day for the rest of your life probably isn't a good idea. However, having a strategic way to cycle through these on a regular basis to reap the benefits without your body adapting to the effects of these herbs is really the best long-term strategy. But if you guys are interested in any other compounds that have been shown to improve hormone function, I've got an entire list of several compounds that didn't make this video that have some semi-decent research behind them. I've got an entire PDF, and so if you guys are interested in that at all, there's a link in the description that you can follow in order to download that. But other than that, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope this was beneficial for you guys. I keep saying I just need to make a supplement that has all of these in there because I do believe it to be the most effective stack that's out there, and so maybe that'll happen at some point in the future, who knows. But again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the bell notification, all the fun YouTubey stuff, and I will see you guys next time.